And here's another complaint that I hear. Why do I have to evaluate my performance? Isn't that my manager's job? Hello, hello, hello. I hope you are doing well today, and I hope you're feeling brilliantly expansive. If you're not feeling expansive, then buckle up. You are in the right place. Well, I spent the first 20 years of my professional life helping colleagues, team members, family, friends, and even other leaders fuel their success. And now I help ambitious, high-performing professionals who feel defeated by their pursuit of success integrate natural gifts and personal power into all you do, even your workspace. I want to know if you're advocating for yourself in your own performance in your workspace. If you aren't playing an active role in evaluating your performance, then you are also participating in your slow growth, and you might be getting underpaid for the value that you're adding. People are often judged solely on their work task completion and delivery speed. And this neglects the critical impact you are having with your presence and influence. Many companies require self-reviews, but if yours doesn't, you need to submit your feedback on your review either way. Giving yourself a review, it just seems crazy, right? And it's common if you feel awkward doing your self-review. It is very common. Here are some common complaints that I hear when people find out that they have to do a performance review on themselves. I hear things like, I don't have time to complete my performance review. I'm too busy trying to meet deadlines. Okay, so if this is you and you were saying, I am too busy trying to meet deadlines, then you are prioritizing the benefit of the company, the success of the company, the growth of the company, how much money the company is making. You are prioritizing that over your own growth, over your own success, and over your own compensation. Here's why this is a mistake, because it is the company's job to make sure that the company succeeds. All of those leaders running the company, it is their job to make sure that the company is successful. They may be amazing humans, but their job is not to make sure that you are making the money that you need to be making to thrive and that you are succeeding in the way that you desire to succeed. So whose job is that? That is your job. Advocating for yourself, this is just the time that we live in. You have to become an advocate for yourself, and you have to be willing to say, I'm going to prioritize my own value and my own growth and my own success, because that is my number one job. I am here to run the company of me, and I want me to succeed, because the more that you succeed, reality is the more that your company is going to succeed and the more that those people around you are going to succeed. I also hear things like, I hate performance reviews. I feel like I'm not really being seen for the value that I add. And this is exactly why you want to complete a review of yourself. Be your own advocate. There is no one stronger to be an advocate for you, because you are the one that sees everything, right? Everyone else might be really busy worrying about themselves, worrying about the work product, worrying about their workload, worrying about their families. So you have to be able to be your own advocate. Okay, and here's another complaint that I hear. Why do I have to evaluate my performance? Isn't that my manager's job? So look, I know writing about yourself isn't always easy. And if writing is not your thing, then it's going to feel even harder to sit down and write a few pages about what you've accomplished over the year. Your manager is probably one of your biggest advocates. Like, being a leader, that's what leaders do. We advocate for those people who are just working so hard to drive the success of the company forward. Reality is, though, with the pace at which things are moving in this world, and the pace at which we're being asked to deliver solutions. So if you're relying on your manager to do your evaluation, it's highly possible that they have their own stuff that they're working through. And yes, in an ideal world, they would have the space and the time to do this in a beautiful way, but you don't want to take your chances that they have the space that they need to really do justice, not just for you, but for everyone else working underneath that manager, right? So here's, again, I'm going to say, you have to be your biggest advocate. And if you're leaving your performance review to your manager, then guess what? They can't be everywhere. So it's possible they're missing some key impacts that you're having on the growth of the organization, on those around you. And if they're busy and something went wrong throughout the year, then it's possible that that thing is going to be highlighted in your review, and you will want to balance that out with other ways that you had a strong impact. And you also want to be able to get ahead of that and say, look, I saw this, I know it's happening, and here's what I did to pivot, because that is going to give you credibility as well. And if you're looking to be promoted and get a salary increase, I have seen some companies make this really, really hard for leaders to justify marking someone as a high performer. So you want to just take the guesswork out and help your manager, even if they're your biggest fan, when you are doing a review for them and they want to help you grow and succeed and increase your compensation, you're going to make their life easier by helping them make the case for the value that you add, because I promise you, they are trying, but they could certainly use the help, because there's probably more than one of you on your team. Here are some tips to write a review that supports the growth that you're looking for. I am going to say, start early. Do not wait until the last minute. I hear this so often. People delay it because it's hard to do. They don't want to delve into the writing of it, right? So start early. Think ahead of time of the value that you add. And if review's already passed, then start thinking now about the value that you add. Not just the value that you add tactically, because it's really easy for your manager to pull that data, right? You accomplished this many things. You did this many things on time. This is how your productivity was. But you want to talk about the value you added at a deeper level. How did you show up? How did you influence those around you? Sit down and put some thought into, what value am I really adding in this organization? Outside of moving widgets and completing tasks on time, who am I really showing up as? And how do I affect those around me, the culture around me? Am I affecting it positively, right? Think about those things, because those are all things that you are helping influence the company's success in. So by thinking about your value early and often, you also want to think about, what natural gifts am I bringing to the table? So these are your strengths. They can even be things that you didn't even think pertain to your job, right? So if you're hired, for example, to document requirements for a new system, and that's just what you're used to doing, and maybe you think, well, I delivered requirements on time, or my requirements were such a good quality that the end product was amazing and we launched on time because my requirements were written very clearly. That explanation is not doing justice to evaluating yourself. What natural gifts did you elicit in that process to help you get to that successful result? I'm guessing it has something to do with how you collaborate with others. Maybe you're really easy to talk to. Maybe you're really good at understanding what others are explaining to you, either from a business term or technical term. So you make that translation process really easy and you help bridge the gap, right? Those are all natural gifts. Listening, collaborating, translating, right? These are all things that are possibly natural gifts. So you want to think about, what natural gifts are you bringing to the table that aren't necessarily in a job description, but make you really powerful in your job. And if you don't know, if you're one of those people that's like, I'm just exhausted, I'm defeated, I'm sick of trying to figure this out, I don't know what my natural gifts are, then you're also not alone in that process. It is very common. So in this culture, we just focus so much on the negativity, the negative things that we're doing. I didn't do this well. I'm terrible at this. I don't have the skill. Don't get in that trap. If you're looking to grow and succeed and grow your income in your role, don't get in that trap of, but these are all the things that I'm doing poorly, or these are all the things that I don't have in my portfolio, because you probably have some golds that you do naturally that you're not highlighting. And sometimes you're going to have to paint the picture for people and say, hey, I do these things really, really well. And this is what makes me competitive, right? This is what makes me really strong for this growth in this position. If you're feeling defeated, then you need to take some time really tapping back into yourself, tapping back into what makes you thrive. If you forgot what your natural gifts are and you're out of touch with who you are, then you need to spend some time on your personal growth, really dialing back into who you are, what makes you tick, maybe even things that just bring you joy, right? That's why I coach people to tap into their natural gifts, because it's a skill that we've lost and it's something that we haven't highlighted. We've really lost a lot of confidence in ourselves, which leads me to my next point. Writing your self-review from modesty or lack of confidence, don't do it. It is a big mistake. Write your self-review from a space of personal power. And here is a really good trick. Write it in the third person if you have to. I did this for years. I had such a hard time seeing what I was naturally good at and where my personal power was that I had to pretend I was sitting outside of myself and observe my accomplishments. And that's how I got good at seeing, oh, look at this. I am doing this thing. I didn't even notice that that was something that was helping others be successful and helping me be successful, right? So write your review in the third person if you're someone that's still working on that confidence. Write it from a position of your values. Think about the values that you possess. I heard from someone the other day, it drives them crazy when people are late to a meeting, right? That is one of their values. They appreciate punctuality. In that process, though, realize that what your gift is, what you're bringing to the table is your ability to be punctual, your ability to show up, your ability to show up strong, right? I'm going to show up on time and you're probably going to be ready because you don't like to be late. Those are all things that contribute to how you're supporting what you're accomplishing. Maybe when others see you stepping up to the plate and being like, we're going to be on time, I'm going to show up and I'm going to show up ready. Well, that is a value that is fueling the success of the organization, because when others around you see that you're doing that, you're setting a tone for the culture, and your leaders are going to appreciate when you point that out and say, here are my values, and here's how I support the mission and the vision of the company. One of the values that I bring to the table is my punctuality and my ability to meet deadlines. And I set that example, and I set the example high to help us be successful, right? My peers see that. And then how are you showing up? Do you create a positive environment? If you're one of those people that is, let's say there's just a really bad day, lots of things went wrong with the product, you're late in delivery, and you show up and you're the one pumping everyone up, being like, it's okay. We got this. What do we have to work with? How can we move forward? That is a natural gift, and your value is to stay aligned with just the energy of action, right? It's okay. We got this. You're also building team camaraderie when you do that. You need to be highlighting these things in your performance review because they have a really big impact on your teams. And when you're sitting on a team, being that person, then your manager doesn't have to be in that meeting with you because you're that person that's kind of pumping everyone up. So you need to be able to peel the onion and say these things to help highlight, like, hey, I also help teams work independently because I have this ability to walk in and help redirect the energy and tell everyone, like, let's get focused back on the solution, solving the problem, right? Okay, here's the next thing you want to do when you're doing a self-evaluation. Identify examples of how you add value. And I just gave you a couple, right? Especially the things that others don't see. Don't assume that people are complimenting you, outside of you. I mean, they might be, and that's amazing. It's going to be like the cherry on top, but don't assume that everyone else is thinking about how amazing that you're doing, right? So you have to come up with examples and don't be afraid to highlight the things that people aren't seeing. If you're helping someone along one-on-one who's struggling to understand content, who is struggling to adopt a new process, and you're spending time helping them along, then highlight that, right? I am a team player and I love supporting the growth of others. When my peers come to me and they ask questions about this process, I support that. I help them, right? Maybe you are working in the technology space and you're really good at understanding the Scrum Agile framework, and other people are struggling to understand it. Maybe you're the go-to person that's being asked questions on it, and really you're coaching people on that process. Highlight that in your review so that your leaders know, oh my gosh, we kind of have an internal trainer here, right? And this person is helping others grow in that area. That's a really big deal, but they might not even know it because you're getting all of these calls on the side of like, hey, can you help me with this? Taking you 5-10 minutes. And then it's like, oh, that's so cool. This is awesome. Now I can move forward. But nobody's going to know if you don't highlight it. So make sure that you're highlighting examples of the areas where you're adding value. Also, be clear about how you would like to grow and ask for specific actions to help you get there. So I'm going to tag on to this example that I just gave. If you're that person that's really good at a framework like Scrum Agile, and you are the one kind of coaching people behind the scenes on this process, then, and you love doing that, then highlight that and say, I would love to grow this more. I just really get this information. It complements my natural skills. It complements my values. I want to grow in this area. Make sure you're highlighting that in your review, because that is going to career path you, and you are empowering yourself to say, I'm going for that. Now, leader, I would like to know how I get there. How do I get there? And even give ideas on how you can support the team in this capacity, right? You never know if they're going to be creating another role for you that they've been thinking about filling from the outside. Solve that problem for them by saying, hey, I'm really passionate about this. And by the way, I'm really good at it. And I've been coaching everybody anyway. So I've built all of this credibility. So I want to go down this path. And it can be for anything, not just that example that I gave to you. So make sure that you're being clear about how you would like to grow and ask for specific action. Hold your leader accountable by saying, how can I get there? What would help me get there? Because now you're putting the path in front of you for yourself and empowering yourself. So when you don't evaluate and submit your own performance, you are taking the risk that you have accomplished more than your manager was able to see or capture. You're also acknowledging that your voice or opinion doesn't matter, when in fact, your voice and opinion is the most important when it comes to your personal evaluation. So don't miss the opportunity to say, this is how I am thriving in the organization. Remember to like and subscribe this video. If you really liked the content, you can also sign up to receive bonus tips and guides to help support you with this information by signing up for my newsletter. Just click the link in the description below of this video and we'll get you hooked up. All right. Thank you for being here and for giving me the opportunity to support you on your journey. I hope this information served you well. Namaste, sweet soul.